Some of these things, things are gonna look better if I do it on a small person. Except maybe he would be too small even in a way. But you'll see people do that. They'll get somebody who's a little bit smaller. That way they can kind of manipulate the movements a lot easier. I can make them do what I want to do, which is a style of jiu-jitsu that people use as well. It's like, I'm gonna make you do what I want you to do. Or it's more or less, like I just said, we're kind of going through this thing and it kind of happens how it happens. And he's not going to be giving the same fight to me that he would be given or Nate would be given. Or, you guys with Dalton, none of you guys would do the same fight. Y'all may have the same ideas and techniques, but you don't have the same body. You're not as tall, you're not as thick, you're not as strong, your back don't hurt the same way his back hurts or whatever. Like, for real, it all matters. It's all relevant. Your left-handed, right-handed, whatever. All that's matter. So I like to use a big person as much as I can. That way I can, play it out the way that it kind of has to play out, too. If I'm going to approach a person in this kind of seated position, I'm usually taking steps to get to the outside first. We're not going to worry too much about getting into all that first, but ideally I would come outside, and that's going to be one of the first things you guys can kind of work on, with just like a little shoulder pop and like a heel toss to get him back. But we'll be working mostly from when he's already kind of rocked back in these positions. So I just talk about that a little bit because he's got these long legs and he's already getting antsy to try to shoot up underneath me already and put these butterfly hooks in, right? So if I just stand straight up, obviously that's going to be a piece of cake. So I don't want to get in the habit of approaching this guy straight on with ability for him to get in between my legs. That's not going to be good for me. So that's why I try to get these little shades set, and then I'm trying to get them out to somewhere like that, right? And so then we'll start initiating everything. A lot of times kind of from this sort of kind of thing, a staggered something, right? Whichever way I'm going, because I don't want him to have access to get both. It's dummy sweeps, right? Everybody's pretty familiar with that. So stay back from me right there. If his feet are on the floor right here, go ahead and come down. Easy pass. If his head's back on the ground, easier pass. Right? Simple things that we all kind of know if you think about it, but if you think about these individual things, you can make people give you a pass. If his feet are on the floor, he's got to sit all the way up to take the space back. Right? Or he got to be able to pull his knees all the way up to his chest to be able to prevent me from getting in there. Right? So I think about things like that as a way to initiate my movements. If his feet are on the floor, I'm putting weight into his knees here. Can you pull your knees up? Can you straighten your leg out? Can you pick it back up now? Pick it up.
Yes,
right? Simple things like that. If he puts his feet on the floor, I'm going to try to keep him there. Okay? So the first thing that I want to try to do is a gorilla pass. We're going to get him back here. He's going to be in that position. Guys, don't be lazy and put your head down if you're the drill partner on the bottom, because it's not realistic for you and it's not as realistic for them. If you need to maybe hold your head up with one arm a little bit for some rest or protection or whatever, that's cool. But in reality, I would rather everybody get in shape enough to be able to sustain a few minutes at a time of this, because you're going to have to. It's 5 minutes, whatever your match is. What if you get your ass kicked the whole time? You got to be able to do this or it's over immediately. You know what I mean? It's one of those kind of ideas. But we're in. I'm putting the weight in. I'm going to swing my body weight around that circle like that, so I can get a reverse knee on belly kind of idea. Okay, and then from there I'm going to keep my hands on the knees and I'll walk it back to the center. And I'm just going to go to the other side. Put the knee in there. And then when you get good, you can start going side to side. We're going to get one up a little bit. Right, but we end up in this kind of position. A lot of times this is not going to be the finished position, like I said, but it's just a way to start getting around and over to the side here. Okay, so I like to see you guys get a partner. And you don't have to hop so far. Don't feel the pressure, like I said. You can even start to shake yourself over to this kind of way before you start doing your hop. And run it around. And see how this is buckling that knee inside some too? That's going to stop him from being able to square up and get his guard. You turn toward me. See how he's having to keep away? He's having to take all that extra space to be able to get back. So let's just play with this idea. We'll set the clock for a minute or two each. And a lot of us think of guard passing as there's I do this guard pass, I do that guard pass, I do this guard pass. It's not, you can't really do that. It's not really one guard pass. It's just passing guard. I just have to get around his legs. I have to get in between this knee and elbow space with my body somehow. And that's a pass. But until then, it's not. Even if he goes all the way to turtle. See, this is just turtle sitting up. If he rolls over and gets on all fours, that's the same position, right? So I still don't score until I can get open in that position, right? So there's a lot of things like that that you could think about. I've just got to get into that space. I don't have to be like smothering him or like crushing his whole soul or anything crazy at first. I just got to like find that little crack and melt into that space. I don't really need all of it at one time. It's actually better if I get a little bit at a time, because then I can fill the space as I see fit, rather than having to just be greedy and try to gobble it all up. And then that's where people can counter me a lot more, when I'm trying to be too fast, right? I just want to make it fill up like slowly, and then suddenly he's stuck to the ground. All right, so he's back now again. You threw right back for me. That way I'll throw you again, yeah. And so he's in this position, he got his feet down. Okay, so now he's like, all right, I'm gonna get my knees up this time, because I know that that's gonna stop you from being able to just do the thing you did. So now you're gonna pull your knees up. Knees up into this position, okay? So now, are you shading this side for a reason?
That's always good.
That's a good side, right? Most people do that. Most people do that. So it's not foolproof, but I always just try to go to the other side. You just showed me everything I needed to know, right? Preferences. Everybody, you all play one side, right? Your guards one-sided?
Yeah.
Mostly. Me too. I play left leg high most of the time if I'm playing. So I get, that's what I'm saying. If he shows you, you gotta know. So that's a tell. Okay? Now, the next thing is this. We're pushing the feet to the floor. This time we're gonna push his knees towards his chest. This can get a little bit like funny, but he's gonna have to extend, okay? And there's gonna be pressure that's a little different in each leg. So again, he kind of chooses which way we're gonna go here. And so we'll see how it plays out. Again, I'm approaching with my hips back, that way he can't get those in, and I'm shoving. And so now you wanna kick it, right? Go ahead. That only works because he's staying in the ball. If he puts his feet on the floor, I can't spin him anymore. But then I can just walk around it though, because he's got the space open for me. Right? Does this make sense? The reason that works is because he's doing the right thing. If he's doing the wrong thing like he's doing right here, then I would just step around. Cool? So now he's going to stop that by pulling it in. I'm pushing knees in. He's resisting that way. So let's try to do the other one this time and see what happens there. You can stay on the other side either. Yeah, like you want to be smart now. You're like, I'm gonna still play my good side, but I'm gonna use the other leg to extend, right? Because it's a process of like figuring it out, right? Go. Okay. Right? All I'm doing is pushing his knees straight and feeling which one he wants to kick with, and just going and letting it go by me and keeping the pressure with the other one that's straight on. He's spinning himself, right? Am I turning you? Watch. When he kicks this leg straight, whichever one, he's kicking that one straight now, but I'm just pushing straight. Can you square back up now? And now, the problem will be like if we're really grappling and he starts trying to hand fight with me or something, that's where we're gonna get more into like other things, but look at all this. I won't spend time like that in real time. So get in here, we'll push the knees to the chest, one leg at a time, see what happens. If they do both, just sit on the stomach, you got it now. That makes sense? Kick. Oh, you didn't kick far. Just go that way now. You know what I mean? Just dump them like that way. So one at a time. 1, 2, just do like another 5. Okay? That's just a couple of like simple things in those ideas. There's one more that I want to work on. This is going to definitely be the hardest one for everybody to maybe pull off. Usually it is. Just as an idea. It's not hard, but the practicality of it may not always come to you similar to what I was talking about you guys. But in order to be like a really great guard passer, you have to go against people with like great guard. You know, and if you're just passing people's guard and you're not good, that doesn't mean you're a good guard passer. Everybody's trash that you go against, right? So that's the thing. I wanted to work against anybody. but I don't have anybody that I ever get. And I'm not saying this like in like right now or just like in your mind. Yeah, I really want to work this kind of stuff out, but I don't have anybody that can take the pressure or that can push it far enough for me to have to go through all these steps. That's great. That's great. That means you're doing a good job with it then. That means you're making them break down and give it up before you technically are even finished with your thing. That's good. Keep working on it though, because eventually they're gonna figure it out. If they're game and they're smart, they're gonna figure that out and they're gonna add more to it. So then you're gonna need the rest of it in bits and pieces, you know. And as you go out and compete, if you do compete, you'll definitely get that feedback fast, you know, on what's working and what's not working, like immediately. So it's a long process. It's like, I never thought about that. You just haven't had to yet, maybe. And so it's not that maybe Richard doesn't know it even. You know, I mean, your coach may know a bunch of things that he doesn't tell you yet because you're not quite up to the point to worry about it. Because I know I've taught people some stuff before, and then I see them over there working on things like, oh man, I didn't really mean for that to be the special interest thing that they picked up on because they're not quite ready to like get to that in a real role yet. Mm-hmm. But once they are able to start finding that spot, now they have advanced knowledge over whoever the other random person is that they go against in that spot. So it's always give and take like that. You know, like the guys who got really good at leg locks at white belt and were submitting the high level guys that weren't good at it, but then they didn't have enough guard passing or guard themselves to beat the high level guys once they got up there and had to go against them all the time or whatever. It's like, that's the thing. You gotta, it'll work and then it won't work, so you gotta learn anyway. So this one, we'll be really aggressive if we're doing this in the match. I would be coming straight like at Chris right here. So I want you to go ahead and just rock back for me right here. And just imagine that he would be in the same position. Put your feet on the floor for me now. And I'm gonna try to make my neck and shoulder right here fit the shape from the floor here of his hip, essentially, right? If you guys have trained with me before, you probably see it. It's an over-under pass, essentially. It's just really like weird looking without going fast or without him resisting and like doing the stuff. So without the partner doing anything, it looks like hands on the knee like we were before. The other one is going to end up underhooking the other leg, right? So I put it on the floor over here. So now if he was sitting up like he was before, you would see how this kind of idea would play out a little bit better. Okay, so we're going to make it dramatic for you to have to like work on this movement a little harder than you would really need to if we were timing it out though, right? We're going to do like a whole big back step. So I think of this as like, stay where you are for me. Yeah, just be still for this drill. This is the mountaintop. I got to get over the mountain to pass the guard. Around it, over it, through it, whatever it is. In this instance, I've got to go over it, man. It's the hard way now. It's the only way there is the hard is over it, right? So I'm going to go shoulder to here. All right, so I can have that on him. And now I'm out, and I've got the hooks on both of these legs. Okay, if he wants to like frame me out or push me away or anything, none of my weight's really on the floor, so I'm still able to be really mobile. And I can back up into him and square up, or I can go back towards this way and start taking my positions off to the side and stuff. So a lot more than that as we're doing it in real time. But if you can't quite get this down and land on your feet without your butt hitting the floor and like sliding off to the side or whatever, it may not be for you yet. You know what I'm saying? And I said yet, not never, not next week even once you work on it some, just maybe not yet. So let's just play with that idea. Shoulder to the hip. Boom. And I'm over. And then I can take my sides from there. So using my hands for balance to make it easier. Over and under. Stuff. Roll. He tries to kick me off. I square myself back up. I'm over to the other side. Kicks. I'm back up. I'm never hitting the floor. Never letting my knees hit the floor. I'm never falling. If he pushes me off, good. You just did all that, and I'm here again. Right where you started. You got nothing. You did all that work for nothing. Okay? I'm just gonna hit him with the same shit again. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. That's why I'm not gonna try to do it in the whole thing, because it's not gonna be perfect after this such thing. But in my mind, this is what I'm always doing. I'm getting my shoulder into that hip socket. So like I'm this way. So my shoulder is pushing into his hips. right? That way if he tries to turn towards me, I'm under his shoulder, under his hip with my shoulder. And then now, this is what I was gonna say to you guys down there, Wesley. Maybe he does bridge or whatever and start pushing me away with his arms. I come up over into this side.
Basically, just turn into a double over. And walk
Over, under, double over, yep. Call it a star pass. Because you love that shit, don't you?
It was fresh, coach.
All right, finish this one drill out. We're gonna work that one. That's how we're gonna get the second. You really gotta get the fine points of each one of those to finish. You know, like that's why we're resetting. You know, I wanna always be able to reset. That's why I'm not trying to put my knees on the ground if I can help it. Not trying to really like settle unless I can settle. Right, unless he's making a mistake and just giving it up. I'm always ready to just kind of have to go back to that beginning and just, you know, start over. Because that's better than trying to stay in this position that's going to end up getting you trapped or countered, or, you know, whatever like that. You could be almost all the way there. But a good person may be doing that to lead you to a trap. Like I could let you be doing certain things because I understand how this pattern develops as well. And then all of a sudden I just take it away when you're jumping for the thing that you, right? So slow, steady, however you want to think about it, fast, it's not really about that. It's like when you got it, you got to have it. When the moment's there, it's got to be then. It can't be almost, or it can't be after coach says it. If Richard sees it, calls it out to you, you hear it, process it, your opponent probably did the same thing, that moment is now gone, or it's at least changed slightly. So then when you hear things from your coach, maybe the thing is not into it exactly what he's saying always, but to think about the things around what he's saying. This is the thing around what he said. This is what he said. Okay, these are the things I know from this idea, right? If I have the head and arm, if I have the knees pushed to the other side. Like this is a great way he said. Anytime I can get his knees pushed the other way, I have his back. Anytime his knees are faced away from me, I'm on his back. Simple, right? Simple, just like that. There's a bunch of little ideas like that if you really drill it down, those are what's going to make you really good, because that's what the moves are that you learn. People just figured out this does that. This button makes this happen. You know, stuff like that. So we're in. We've done all of our passes over here. Right, I got over to his side. I want to keep Chris on his side. So if you guys need to move around some, you can on his back. I mean to say where I'm in this side. If you can see now, you can see where I'm like more down towards his hips. Okay, and I'm gonna try to get under his arm and collect that shoulder. And notice how my elbow is not on the ground. Okay, my free hand is just kind of doing whatever. It could be bothering him here. It could be like combing his hair a little bit. But you know, just whatever. You know, he won't be having that out there like that for sure. Right? He's probably looking to make frames. He's either looking to what? Turn towards me and guard up, or go away and like turtle or something, right? Those are his options. That's why I'm keeping my weight down here on this hip. Because if he goes that way, it's hard. He's got to carry me with him. There's a sweet spot though, and I'm not quite there. I want to find, what was the moment that you called it?
I just said when they do.
No, you said that was the scientific name for this space right there.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
No. Oh, I split the thumb in the sternum and the finger in the rib.
All right. He's like a biology teacher or some shit. Fuck that. What I'm trying to do for him is, he don't even remember, but he taught something recently, and he named whatever this particular like bone is, and that's kind of what I'm trying to do. The point of my ribs, huh?
Like around the floaty rib.
You just made it up. I take everything nice I said back. But wherever that is, I'm trying to connect mine to his, but then I'm also maybe trying to trace that rib line down to his hip in the same way with mine. Okay? Because I want to be diagonal more than perpendicular in this case. Okay? I want to be close to his hips, but I'm not close to his hips like with my weight up in any kind of way. Just turned down into it. And I'm twisting into that. And I'm looking this. And so now, this is a different position too than what he's got right now. But these are all things that you got to deal with. Okay? If I'm in here and I'm keeping this position, he's not framing, I'm just going to kind of hang out and start like really putting pressure on him. Maybe just like Push on his face a little bit until he starts deciding he wants to use one of these arms for something. There we go. That's what I'm doing. Now, this is where you're going to get a different on the Americana than you ever had before, probably. I'm keeping my elbow tight to my body. I'm not going to let it leave my body if I can help it. I want to get his wrist right there. Okay? The way I got his wrist is he put it up to here, right? I'm not going to reach up or pull it. I'm going to rotate. Hips and shoulders go together to catch it. And then I'm going to rotate back the other way, all the way though. Hips and shoulders all the way together. So from here, I'm rolling up his body. Oh, he thought I was going to hit him in the face with the elbow, and I didn't. This is the finish of the Americana already. I make my grip. I pull my elbows in tight. He's already on the tap. I'm going to take a little pressure off so I can do that. That's it. I don't have to paint the mat. I don't have to put his palm on the floor. I don't have to do any of that stuff. If you guys can not see, I'm just really going to roll both sets of knuckles towards the floor. And he may have really tight shoulders, so that'll be a little bit different. That may be a little bit different on some people than others. But just thinking about it, if he puts his arm here and is in this position, he's already locked it in place. If I hook the shoulder, I'm locking it in place. So then as I rotate myself forward, it keeps it already very tight. And all I'm doing right here is see right there, yeah. He's already wanting to tap to this. I'm not putting anything on the floor yet. If I get it away from his body, then I'm gonna need to like get it to the floor and all those other kind of things, right? It's not wrong to do that, right? I've finished tons of people that way, you know, but maybe it wasn't the most efficient, the most right way that I could have done, right? So that's where forever comes into play for you guys. If you're really gonna be doing this forever, that's what you want. You want the most right thing. There are a bunch of right things, but eventually you're gonna want the most right thing because you're gonna be old and not as fast, and you have to use like treachery and tricks to get people, and it's not gonna be as easy just to like come in and like serve folks up. You're gonna have to like trick them and hit them with like philosophy and throw them off like that. So it's really important to drill down the specifics if you want to be great forever. If you want to just win tournaments and stuff, get good at like 2 or 3 things from each position and don't worry about everything else. Really get good at those couple things and learn to defend everything. You don't really need it all if you just want to win matches. But if you want to be good at it all, you've got to like study it all. Okay? So we're gonna go side control. 2 fingers, I like to think of it as like this I love you kind of grip. Hooks his shoulder. I'm under his elbow nub right there. And I'm rotating my butt towards him right here. Does this feel good for you? Nope. Okay. So as we stay here, that's what gives him the incentive to start making mistakes. Because like I said, I don't have to move from here. And if we were like fighting, I'm just gonna like do this until he moves. Some way, shape, or form. You know? And then he gives me what I want. So like here, that gives me no control over what I'm doing really. I'm not saying I haven't done it before either, right? But I want it here. So I can write, can you push me off? Like push me off. Push me off. See how that elbow didn't move from my body? Right across his face. It didn't touch your face, did it? Mm-mm. Hips down over here. Fingers in. He's tight. Okay? Use your body. Use your body. This dude's strong as hell. Like I'm not trying to blow you up. Like in a match or whatever, I'm not trying to match his strength. Maybe I'm as strong as you are. Maybe I'm stronger than he is, but I don't want to have to deal with that. I'm going to try to get into a position where I know I'm stronger than him because he can't arm wrestle my body. Right? That's what he's got to do. Can you get that off? Okay. And I really like the detail Wesley had the other week too. Once you get in and we're hooking, once we get him over and across, see how the elbow stays there, guys? I'm just coming up and over. You make the X. I don't need my fingers. I just roll that forward. Right? It's not a grip. Can you get your arm out? Mm-mm. It's more like that scissor play still. Okay? It'll save your hands a lot of grief in long matches and situations like that. Okay? So let's just try to work out basic Americana, elbow over the head. The trick is this. Watch. Here's the line. if I'm diagonal with the line and I'm hooking into here and I turn, this elbow is gonna come up over here. See how it's behind the line now? When I come up and over, how far that came up, that's what does it. I was back here. Now I'm up over here. I'm not elbowing him in the face. If I move my elbow, I'm gonna elbow him in the face. If I remove it from my body, I am. If I don't use my body coming up the right way, it's probably gonna hit him in the face, right? So think about that. If you need to adjust, adjust. But think if I'm hitting him in the face with my elbow, I must be off just a little bit. And so I just like, I was talking with a few of these guys about this. It's like side control and Americanas is like heavyweight 101 Jiu Jitsu or whatever. It's like the first thing that we learn to get good at because we can pin people, we can lay on them, and extract the arm that way. And it's just a true thing. It's not like a hate thing or whatever. But I got tired of like trying to do it all the time because I wanted to be better than that. I wanted like no more stuff. But I still always think that I was really good at it. Obviously, like I've done it a bunch. But a couple of months ago, at this point, I guess it was in Nevada and doing some seminars and had the opportunity to do a private lesson with a coral belt, Master Haji Machado. If you guys are not familiar with that, that's basically the highest rank you can get. He's one of the Gracie's cousins, grew up in Brazil with them, whatever, you know. And I was with another 10-planet black belt friend of mine, and we were going to do this private lesson with him, and he's like, he's going to tell us what he's going to show, and he's going to show us the side control stuff, and he's going to show us the Americana. And we just kind of looked at each other and like rolled our eyes a little bit. It was like, okay, cool. Nobody wants to do Americanas, you know, for an hour. You know, it's like it's kind of boring or whatever, and I know how to do this really well. I'm already very successful with it. But then once we started getting those details, and I realized I wasn't doing it, like I said, as right as maybe I could have all the time. It made me like really have a thought that wouldn't leave my mind, you know, after that. So much of what we do is because we made a mistake. How much of jiu-jitsu even exists because you made a mistake or because you didn't do it right? Like if I do it right, he doesn't get away. There is no counter to this if I do this way. You know what I mean? And so is it possible to always do it the right way? I don't know. That's what and that's what I said. Like I really have had this thought in my head for a long time now since then, because you hear like the old heads or the masters, whatever you want to say, however you think about that, and they're all like, "Oh, this is all bullshit. All this new stuff is bullshit," or whatever. Is that what they're saying? Is that what they're saying? We're doing this wrong, or we're doing too much because we're not doing what we're supposed to do right earlier, or what? You know what I mean? Like it's just an interesting thing to think about in that way because I love jiu-jitsu as it is now. I love all the stuff that I've learned and I use and the fun, you know, things that I'll still always do when I go compete or whatever, and, you know. But then also as like a perfectionist in a way, I was like, damn, how much time have I wasted? And then how many matches or situations did I, you know, lose for lack of like really trying to drill down being good at stuff instead of just trying to collect techniques and try to have a bunch of techniques that I knew how to do and everything. So it's just an interesting thing, like the philosophy side of it. That's what I say is like that's what keeps it going for me always now, more than, you know, rolling every day and submitting people and different things like that. It's more like, you know, just like I said, the philosophy and how each thing relates to the other, because you've seen guys, big meathead guys that are juiced to the gills, you know, those are your world champions that everybody's trying to follow and buy all these technique DVDs from and shit like that. But like none of you are doing that. None of you are on steroids and testosterone out the ass and, you know, eating up your stomach lining and all that kind of stuff to be the greatest and selling all these DVDs and stuff to regular everyday people. Most of us are regular everyday people, even if we get to a high level at this. I'm just a regular person, man. I just got good at it because I kept trying to. There's a lot of people that will probably tell you now that I'm not very good. Depending on, you know, it just depends on where we are in the world or what room it is. They may be like, that guy sucks. But a lot of places people are like, man, that guy's pretty fucking good. So I don't know. I think I'm pretty good too, but I know that I don't know everything, and I know I don't do everything perfectly right all the time. So that's why I keep coming back, because I want to just keep trying to be more right you know, before I'm done. I want to have the most right information possible. That way I can share that with everybody else that doesn't have it, you know, quicker and help cut the line on some bullshit if we can. And you can skip some of the hard times, hopefully. You know, kind of like being a good parent in a way. You want to, you know, protect your kids from some of the hard stuff that you had to grow up with, but at the same time, you can't protect them from everything because then they're not prepared for what's really going to come sometimes, you know. So, I don't know, a lot of philosophy stuff in there. What I like to do here, though, is this guy is now going to try to use his other frame right here, maybe into my hip, and to stop me from getting this whole, like, push in. See how he lifted his elbow? This guy right here just now, he just basically screwed himself again, though, if I wanted to stay here, right? Because now he just made that all weak, and now I can just kind of climb up on that one higher, okay? So that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's subtle. I wouldn't have to move on to anything unless he doesn't move the way that I want to, right? Keep it right there. That way I can, like, take it easy. You're going to get this elbow into the hip right here, right? They're going to try to block the hip a lot of times, right? And maybe people will try to, like, push you off or whatever even, right? So that's what it says. Like, I'm trying to push into that. I can't really, like, collapse that over. So what I want to do is, like, walk under it if I can. Take that bottom knee and go under for one, right? And then once I can get that under, I can start putting the pressure, like, up onto his chest. If he leaves his arm here like this, I'm just going to step up and I'm going to collect this arm with my armpit. Okay? And I'm kind of getting into right here. I can shove this knee a little bit further under him, and I'm going to start sitting down towards his hip so I can get over his head. And I'm just closing my elbow off to my ribs. I'm driving my bottom knee under his shoulder towards my heel, and I'm pulling my heel towards that. So I'm crunching all that way. Okay. There's a bunch of other ways to do this armbar. I just thought this one was pretty fun. You can step over and take this one. I'm going to show you guys another way to do the armbar in just a second off of the same idea. With this one, I don't have to sit down. Like, off of him, I don't have to take my weight off. If he snatches his arm free, I just stay here. Like, I don't lose position. Like, if I were to try to, like, step around, sit down, you know, different things like that. Those are great. I use them. But if I don't have to, kind of that idea. I'm using my knees now to bring him up from here. So trying to do all these things, not working. This knee's gonna go under. The other one's gonna come up. And see how we're starting to get that, like, trap right here? Collect that with my arm. Basically, like you guys are gonna do, like, your heel hooks and things almost even. Like, I'm just getting that elbow back and then into that position with it. I'm shoving this knee underneath. Leaning back. Can you push me off? Are you sure? Try. Like, you know, you gotta know that because you may be able to. Some people do. I want to get over. Can you pull your arm out? That's what I want to be able to do too. Knee forward, heel back, hips in. Okay? Let's try to work it out. Super slick thing off of the same arm bar, right? And listen, guys, I know most of you are black belts already and have perfected all these techniques, so I get why you quit drilling fast. It makes sense to me. I want to make sure that I get as many of these things as I can, you know, in here. The way he's framing me out, if he doesn't use this arm to frame me out, I'm going to get the attack on this because he doesn't have anything to stop my hips from doing this. Okay, so that's one. He has to do this, or I don't move. Right, we're not doing anything else until he does something else. Now that's where this comes from. That knee comes under. Okay, how can I collect that is by coming a little bit up, and then my knee. You can keep that elbow down. Can you get it down? Brings that one forward. Now I've got time. Right, I can push this over here. I can still be looking to maybe finish that Americana if I want it. But I'm looking to get this deep. And I'm grabbing that hamstring. Like I was saying, I'm trying to crunch down this way. before I come over. And see how I can do, right? And if this knee's up this way, it can work, but it's not as good as I can be leaning that way. Everything is going this way, right? Because that's the angle of the arm. Okay, if I'm not breaking down this way, I'm not getting the angle on the arm break that I want. See, if this knee is pointing up, there may not be the right pressure right there. So that's one of the things. Another cool one though, off of the same play, I've come in, I've collected it. Man, I try to step over. In this way, he's not being nice to me. So I'm just gonna slide down, put this knee where his hip is down there. Step over, put my knee up. I'm not going back any further unless I switch to there. Okay, so I slid my knee down to there, just like this. The arm was always right here. As I sat back, this blocks him. If he wants to try to roll up, I catch him on the way down. And then I would politely guide him back that way. Sir. So, I think that's really cool. And to have two arm bars off at the same set. If I can do the one, great. If he's like tough and maybe too good, whatever the case is, I have it on the other side as well. So we're in, he's framing, under. And then I'm using this knee to get him up. All right, can you get me off of you? Like I'm still trying to not let that elbow, that's fine, that's fine. How much did that take you? Oh, what? Push me again. Keep going, give me that back, yeah. See, he wants to turn this way because he's going to give it back. He's going to. And that's way worse than all these other things. He's got to do this. He's got to do this. If you do this correctly, they have to do this. Okay? In, we're collected, under, up. Here, slide down. Can you move from here? I can even step over from there. Sit slowly. Because as soon as that's it. If I wasn't nice, that would hurt, right? Because all that would have went into his arm. And he was ready to tap. There. So be gentle. You got it. Can you pull your arm out? Mm-hmm. I got it. Americana thing. Okay? It's the same thing. He's just Americana and stuff for me. If I do this right, this part, oblique crunch. And if I want to finish a regular arm bar, just let it slip. It's right there. Okay? Let's work that out a little bit. Maybe we'll do one more thing. We'll probably just get rolling though. Okay? As well, okay? So a lot of stuff to take in with that. The end of the day, it's your journey. It's up to you to decide what you're going to do with this, if you're going to keep doing it, how long you're going to do it, or how important it is to you. I know how important it is to me. I know what it means to me. Yeah, and you could never, it may never mean that to anybody else. And I had to learn that. I had to accept that. That I could go and go places or open a school and nobody may show up, and people don't feel the way I feel about it. And I can't make anybody feel the way I feel about it. And it's not fair to make them, or to try to make them, right? So I just do my best to have fun, let everybody else have fun. If somebody wants to compete and be serious, I try to give them that level of attention that they're looking for. And if somebody's kind of like a jackass and they're not taking it serious, that's the level of information and extra care that they'll get also. So if you find that maybe coach doesn't come pour in a lot of attention to you on the sideline, or he doesn't come give you those extra chats or whatever, maybe you're bullshitting. Maybe they've already tried to tell you, stuff like that. That's just ideas to think about there, right? Go talk to him. If it's Richard or Wesley or whoever, coach, show that you're interested in trying to be better, and don't be like, hey, what can I do to get better? It's too broad of a question, right? Try to think of something specific that you would like to get better at. I'm getting my ass kicked every time I'm XYZ. Coach, can you help me with whatever this specific thing is, right? And if he doesn't give you an immediate answer, that may be good. Okay, so don't get mad if he doesn't have, like I tell Richard, he'll hit me up sometimes, hey man, I don't have enough time right now to give you the thought that you deserve for this question. I will get back with you later when I have time to have given it enough thought, right? So be patient. That way he can have time also, whoever, to give you the best information possible, not just, so, hey Chris, do it like this because I'm in a hurry, man, okay? And then that's not careful, you know, and that doesn't show a level of care, right? So just want to like throw those things out there. There's a lot of people that do jiu-jitsu. There's a lot of people that are better than me. There's a lot of people with more titles than me, but they're not as good of a coach. They don't get the people going. They don't like care about the next person. They're very selfish, right? Athletes, people who just get it, they don't know how they do it. They don't know what they're doing. So they can't really teach you what they do often. They're just like, I just jumped harder. Run faster. Hit it harder. Like those guys, right? Bigger, faster, stronger. That's all they ever knew. Because that's all they ever had. Right? So you have to be different than that. Unless that's who you are, you have to think differently as well. You can't just match force on force if you're not that person. And if you are that person, it still will probably be smart tactically to change it up. Because they won't expect it. Right? So yeah, if you guys want, you can ask any questions now or later, anytime. I'm open. Like I said, we'll get a quick picture and then